Hello, everyone. Something kind of occurred to me today, or did occur to me today, that hadn't occurred to me before. The night Chris Cornell died, it's presented to us by his widow that he was kind of distraught on the phone, complaining about headaches and ringing in the ears, and he was in real bad shape. Let's simplify it. He was in real bad shape on the phone with his widow. Allegedly, like when the bodyguard walked out of the room or was in the room with him, this call may have been going on. Or right after he walked out. Now, I wonder why the investigator and why the bodyguard, Kirsten, why he didn't mention anything, like, if Chris had said anything weird or was acting weird, was in a distraught manner the way his widow presents it to us. Because the bodyguard walked with him through the hall into his room. Allegedly, we don't know. We never saw the footage because we're not allowed to, because, it's really secret stuff. Two guys walking into a hotel room. That way we'd get to see how long the bodyguard's in there. We wouldn't have to take people's words for it. We could see it for ourselves and put a stopwatch on the motherfucker. We never got that opportunity conveniently, because I know it's really sensitive stuff, right? Why weren't questions asked like, did Chris say anything weird? Did he seem distraught? Did he seem out of sorts? Was he complaining about headaches and ringing in the ears and all that shit? Where were those questions at? I mean, there's already a bunch of questions about the head investigator. He admitted in interview, admitted it, volunteered it, that forensics were never tested because we classified it as a suicide and there's a backlog. And, it's only a multimillionaire rock star, so, he's not able to get through a backlog. He's not one of us common folk that no one gives a fuck about. When someone like him dies, people's heads roll. If it's not investigated properly or the circumstances seem weird or whatever. Again, where were those types of questions like, well, his wife told us that he was all distraught on the phone, the headaches, the ringing in the ears, he was complaining, he was out of sorts. That's why she was panicking, right? Why wasn't that question asked? What was his demeanor when, while you were in there? Did he say anything weird? Or maybe Kirsten could have just volunteered that. Chris said something weird. He seemed distraught. He seemed out of sorts. But, I gave him his pills and I left. Nothing from either side, the person that was in the room, that could tell us what Chris Cornell's demeanor was. He was literally there. And the head investigator, he wasn't curious about that? I got the reports in my old phone. I got to look at them again, but I remember there wasn't that many questions that were even asked. One, someone pointed that out, which was a damn good point. And I don't remember any questions to the effect of, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I don't remember a lot of questions about, was he saying weird things? Was he acting all distraught and out of sorts like his wife said? No question like that. And Kirsten doesn't mention anything like that. He just keeps it to the basics of basics, which has always bothered me. There's giving too many details and there's giving no details whatsoever at all. And that's what he did. Then there's natural middle ground where a person gives some details because they want the story told. They don't want to get blamed for it. It would have corroborated what the estate has been saying since second one. Did he seem out of control on drugs like everybody said he was? Wouldn't Kirsten volunteer that if that was the case? Wouldn't that help the estate, his employer? Wouldn't it verify what they're saying? He says nothing like that. Because again, that's how he's presented to us as well. The concert, he was just so drugged the fuck out. Couldn't do shit. Yeah, I saw him playing guitar like behind his back and behind his head and shit. That's hard to do when you're drugged out. I don't know. I can't even do it sober. And I've been playing guitar for many, many years. I just never felt the urge to try and play behind my back. My point is, again, no questions like, did he seem high? Because that's what everybody's saying, right? He's out his mind on drugs at the concert. Yet he was able to go back to his room with the bodyguard. The bodyguard doesn't mention shit about him seeming high, out of sorts, off balance, headache, irrational, all chaotic and crazy like he allegedly was on the phone that night with his wife. He's able to think about Apple TVs and this and that, but yet the second he's on the phone with the wife, see, the stories don't jive here. The second he's on the phone with the wife, he's out of control, he's irrational, headaches, ringing ears, blah, blah, blah. Never says I'm going to kill myself or anything. No, they would never say that because they wanted to blame it all on the drugs. All of it. Again, it seems like, no one else is saying he was out of control. Do you get my fucking drift here? No one else was saying he was out of control. He was doing this. He was doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Close to him, band members. No one. The bodyguard, not at all. Doesn't mention anything like that. Yet the second he gets on the phone with his ex-wife, or excuse me, his widow, he's out of control, chaotic, irrational, yelling about fucking headaches and ringing in the ears. How come no one else is talking about that shit? How come no one else said that? And, a lot of bad things seem to happen around this bodyguard guy. The whole Heidi Klum and Seal thing and the aftermath of it, him being with Heidi Klum. That whole shady episode. And then the next thing we hear about the man, he works for a year for a man named Chris Cornell. And he's the last person to see him alive in a hotel room before Chris Cornell dies. A lot of bad luck around this guy. I don't know if I'd want to hire him. It seems like something really bad would happen. And he'd walk away just fine, like he did from both of those other situations. But I wouldn't if I was a star. That seems to be the way it would roll based on the history we know. So again, why didn't the investigator ask these types of questions? Makes no fucking sense to me. Not getting forensics tested, no sense to me. And he admits that as if that's normal. He admits he didn't do his fucking job. Why didn't Kirsten give one detail to that effect? He seemed a little high, seemed a little off balance. He seemed out of sorts. This, that. It would have corroborated everything. He said nothing like that. Kept a tight ass lip. Gave no details. Only the bare fucking minimum. Which is exactly what I would expect. Based on what I think. Anyway, what do you think? Have a good evening.